Welcome to the Love in Action show with me, Al Pasoni, the spiritual badass. Today, I'm so excited to introduce two wonderful guests. But before I do that, I am going to be saying a big thank you to my dear friend, Catherine Edwards. Why? Because she gifted me this wonderful product. And folks, you know, with me on my show, so many people introduce things to me on a daily basis, and I'm not a big buyer of any of it unless I'm trying the product myself. And for the last 3 to 4 months, I've been drinking this amazing food supplement, which our lovely guest will describe what it does and how it works. But a big thank you to you, Catherine, for gifting me this, because it's been wonderful. Now, over to my guest, I have the wonderful Dr. David Silverman, who sits on the medical board at ASEA, and he himself is a retired foot surgeon, if I'm right. And then this pretty beautiful lady who we've been having a giggle with just before. I wish I could have recorded our conversation.
I know.
Because it was actually funny, and you all would have enjoyed that. And she's an executive at ASEA and herself holds a biology degree, if I'm right. So I've got a lot of science here. So we've got spirituality and science all in one combination. Dr. David Silverman, welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you so much, Alpa. I'm doing great. I'm down here in South Florida. It's nice and warm, and I'm really thrilled to be here with you to help people understand what this is and what it means to humanity.
Yeah, thank you. In Florida. And then you've got Danielle. Does she look like she's been up since like 4 in the morning? She's got flight to catch. And she's been on the show. So thank you.
Well, I got to say, Alpa, I didn't even tell you this. I'm at the Greg Braden and Bruce Lipton event they had here. And it's like the beautiful marriage of science and spirituality. And they had us here sharing ASEA at a vendor booth here. And it has been incredible. I have met the most amazing people. I've witnessed amazing things with this technology just over the last few days. And yeah, I'm up early to catch a flight and to be here with you guys.
Thank you. Well, you know what they say. I went on a course with Dr. Demartini. I was gifted this, actually. I'm very lucky, aren't I? I get gifted a lot of things. And it was an amazing 4-day event in 2010. And that's when I actually started hearing about the balance, the polarity between science and spirituality, because as we know, in today's modern science, it's been pretty much hijacked. And I'll say that with conviction. And you have science, but true science and true spirituality, not all of this new age kerfuffle that we see. And then guess what we have? We have divinity. So today we're going to be speaking about this divine product. And I want to start off with you, Dr. David. What was it that made you leave your practice? Let's start there.
Well, it's interesting you said someone gifted you this, because my LLC is called Gift for Humanity. This is much more than most people think that it is initially. But the reason I left my practice, I was board certified in foot surgery. I own my own practice outside of Washington, D.C. We have 2 homes. That's where I grew up, in Washington, D.C. area, Maryland. And I had my own surgery center. I loved what I did. I love helping people. I love the human body, the functions. It just fascinates me. Everything else bores me. It's like all this is going on in us while we live our lives. And who did this, right? Obviously, there's a greater being to have all these things happening. We live, our body heals itself. It's just remarkable to me. But after about 5 years of practicing, I felt like there's got to be more. Excuse me. There's got to be more to life. I felt like I was in a routine. Like every day was get in my car, go to the hospital, or go to my office, work all day, come home. And while I was with my patients, I really loved it. But it was like I had kids, they were growing up. I'm like, I want more freedom in my life, and I want to help more people than just the people in front of me. So real quickly, what everybody that comes to know that alternative medicine is real, there's an aha moment that happens with them where they're like, my God, it's real. It's not hearsay. It's not maybe. For me, it was using magnets. I don't know if you heard people using magnets for things, but my mom had a horrible pain problem, and someone said, try magnets. I'm like, magnets? Why would I use magnets? You know, I'm a doctor, you know, but it worked. And I thought, it's in her head. And then I tried it on myself and it worked on me. I thought it was in my head. And then it worked on some people, some other ones, but I was so fascinated by it. I'm like, if this is real and it's safe, no pharmaceuticals, no drugs, no shots, no nothing, just this. This is amazing to me. So I tried it on a limping dog with arthritis and it stopped limping. And I was like, that was the moment in my life where I was like, if this, the owner is crying, she's crying, she can't believe the dog walks up the steps, hadn't done that in years. I'm sitting there thinking, if I just prove that magnets are real, and everybody laughs about it here, this is 1997, 98. No. Yeah. I thought, what else is out there that we don't know about? Right. I mean, back then when I started practicing, doctors laughed at acupuncture. Now insurance pays for it. So,
Pay for it, right?
Yeah. So that product was marketed through word of mouth marketing. Right. And so I got involved with that and I started telling people, they told people, and word of mouth marketing is just a different distribution model. There's no drug reps. There's no advertising, no spokespeople. They pay the people who are sharing the gift with people. And so you get paid for that. So about 2 years into doing that, I sold my practice. And that's when I left my practice at the end of 99. I was 39. I'm 62 now. I feel
Really?
like
I'm 40.
Thank you.
I was 39.
Well, I feel like I'm 26 because I'm 39 because of this. But
hey,
anyway.
I agree. That's one thing I've noticed with my skin. I mean, yeah, but I'll go into that later.
The skin is beautiful. I mean, we just met for the first.
Just honestly, 4 hours sleep and it to look like this, yeah.
You look like a 20-year-old. But anyway, to fast forward, that's when I sold my practice. I made a big mistake in doing that because I didn't investigate the people running that company as well. Because when I owned my practice, I was in charge. The integrity was with me, right? I knew my integrity. That company, I didn't. It was a Japanese company, and so I ended up leaving that. And then 12 years ago, I got introduced to ASEA by a friend, and just like Catherine told you, gave you some. She didn't give it to me. It comes with a money back guarantee, so I just bought it. But my dad was really ill. So the only reason I investigated this after she had told me what it had done with her mother's joint problems and her breathing problems, and I saw that her skin problem that people get on joints wasn't there anymore. The only reason I took it really seriously was my dad had a grave issue, the type of issue no one wants to hear they have in any part of their body, whether it's their prostate or their breast or anything, and investigated it, saw that it was as safe as water. Saw some studies, not the studies we have now, showing what it does at the genetic level, but saw that it was as safe as water. And I got him on the product, saw amazing things with him. He's fine today. We're having dinner tonight. He's 84 years old. But I referred people to my friend Debbie because I didn't want to get involved with the business. Eventually, I had my aha moments with it myself, and I said, I'm getting involved. And that was 11 years ago. So I'm on the medical board. It's a volunteer position, but the entrepreneur side of me and the fun part is being able to trying to make people aware of this and teaching them how to help other people with it, so the whole world knows about it, because God knows the world needs better health today.
Absolutely. And before we get into sort of the meat of what this product does, both on a scientific and a spiritual and an internal level, I just want to kind of go over to you, Danielle. Like, I believe you have a bit of a story with ASEA too. I'd just love to hear about that.
Yeah, Alba, thanks for asking. I'm happy to share. And the story involves David, so we'll get to that connection. But I was in a really severe car accident. I got hit by a drunk driver 10 years ago. And after the accident, I was walking around fine. My body looked fine, but something had happened to my brain, and I wasn't able to focus. I had really severe pounding. I was sensitive to any sort of input, light, noise, and ultimately I couldn't work. I lost my job. I had to move back in with my parents and try and get myself healthy. And the Western medicine doctors I went to didn't have answers. They kind of said, sit tight, it should clear in a month. And then it was 3 months, and then it was 6 months. And then, at my 1 year, my neurologist actually said to me, this is just your new normal. Your body's done all the healing it will do at this point. And I'm pretty blessed. My mom has always been into the alternatives, right? She's been into all of these things my whole life. And we were trying other things along the way. And we were talking to an incredible network of people that had access to to different options, but nothing was helping. And I was determined to get better, but I didn't know what the answer was going to be. And an acupuncturist actually called my mom and said, I've started using this technology in my practice. Every client is getting benefit, and each one of them in a different place. She said some it's helping with their digestion, some it's helping, with the hormones. It's just going in on a cellular level and repairing. And she said, I believe it could pass the blood-brain barrier. And so my mom brought this stuff home. She intuitively just said, this is it. Then she ran into me, and the biologist in me was like, well, where's the science? And this sounds like BS. I actually, I thought the lady was involved in a scam. Quite frankly, I actually pushed this away for like 6 months, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like you learn about it and you go, this sounds way too good to be true, or like, why hadn't I heard about this sooner if it's so great? And all those things are running in my head. I was looking on Google, right? And you'll find whatever you're looking for on Google, and there's different agendas out there, So I ran into a website that also said it was a scam, and I wrote it off. But my parents started using it, and it was amazing to watch. My mom had, she had like her joints were so stiff, she couldn't make a full fist. And within 6 weeks of drinking this, all of a sudden, she's like, her range of motion is back. She's got no discomfort.
Sorry to interrupt you, but this is so important. Mum, this is for you. Listen carefully, because she just said the same thing, exactly the same thing last night, Danielle. She goes, Alba, I can't do work anymore. And I'm like, Mum, you're giving up. Please, are you drinking this? I've given you like the taste. Anyway, she just did exactly what you're doing. She goes, look at my fingers. They're all like,
yeah, like gnarly.
I believe she's going into the I have arthritis. But yeah, sorry, go ahead. Sorry for interrupting, but that I just had to say this to my mum because she's going to watch this. Mum, you better be watching.
Listen, Mom. Listen carefully.
Yeah, I didn't listen to my mom. Listen to your daughter. And I'll also say we didn't have the topical version back then. This was 2014. That didn't exist. And if that had existed, so Mom, use the gel. You can rub it directly on. You can like alert the signal to a very specific area with that gel. But my mom, it was 6 weeks. All of a sudden, she's feeling wonderful. That got my dad's attention. I was thinking it was in her head. Like I thought, kind of like David was sharing with the magnets. Like I thought it's a placebo, But then my dad had a 30-year-old like issue. He had torn his ACL in college playing football, and it's always plagued him. And literally 10 days into using this, he's working out without a brace on his knee. He said, I feel like I'm 30 years old again. He was in his mid-50s. He said, I'm like telling myself I have to stop, even though my body feels like it can do more, because I don't think I should be doing all that I feel I can do. And that's when they kind of dove more into the science, because my dad's more analytical. And he said, well, what is this stuff? And what's the science behind it?
That's my next question. What is redox signaling? Is it molecules? Because before I sort of go into that question, when I was speaking to Catherine, I said, look, this stuff is great, but how do I explain it to people? What do I say? How does it work? I haven't really read much about it, and seen many videos and marketing about it, but all I'm doing is drinking it, and I'm using the Renu. And guess what? I got my mom to use the Renu because I bribed her. I said, Mom, it's going to make you look younger. Okay, I'll try it right now. She's so vain. Sorry, she's going to kill me. She's so vain. She's like there on her face doing it. And that's what she's doing. But she's like, this tastes like bleach. I don't like it.
Oh, too funny. Well, no, what's crazy is like the taste of it will change. And apparently,
I don't find it is if you've tried the MSM, I could not stomach that at all. So when I tried this is easy. It's like better than tequila. But yeah, what are we dealing with here? What is this stuff?
Well,
I'll let David explain that.
Yeah.
But Danielle, finish what happened with
yeah.
because
Sure. Yeah.
People get, a lot of people take this product because as we get older, we'll explain, we see more things happen to us as we get older, joints, hormones, all kinds of skin shape changes. But sometimes life throws you a curveball and a drunk driver hits you. And how old were you when that happened?
23.
Yeah. So what happened? We can't make medical claims with this product, but listen, Danielle's story is pretty amazing, and I can show you where it's recorded actually in a minute.
Yeah. So I started drinking 8 ounces a day. They had me doing 4 ounces in the morning and 4 ounces at night. And I didn't notice anything. Month 1, month 2, like things were kind of going by. I was telling my parents they were wasting their money on this stuff. And then in the third month, all of a sudden, like I had this energy again. Like I wasn't having to nap. I was able to focus, and the pounding that had been relentless, I mean, relentless for 2 years, stopped and has not come back. And I just thought, oh my gosh. And my cognitive therapist, I'd been seeing her weekly, right? So she's watching this progression. And she said to me, Danielle, I've worked with people with your type of injury for 30 years. And she said, I've never witnessed a recovery happen so rapidly, so far out from an initial trauma. She said, with your type of injury, it just doesn't happen. And she said, I'll quote it, what the hell is that stuff you started drinking? And I kind of laughed because Alpa, I didn't know what it was. I didn't understand it. And I said, well, it looked like salt water to me. I said, I don't know what it is. She said, well, it's clearly not salt water. And this is where David comes in, because my cognitive therapist said, well, I need to learn about it because all my clients need to be educated on this. And I went to my mom. She said, we got to talk to one of the doctors on the medical board. And that was David. So David got on the phone with myself and with this cognitive therapist. He explained what it was, and I'll let him do it here too. But my mind just exploded with the potential. You know, the biologist in me was finally like satisfied with understanding, well, what this is and how it works and how it can touch any living thing. I mean, I look at the, you know, the beautiful flowers behind you, like they're communicating with redox too.
They
So
really are. Yeah, no, thank you for that. And it's extraordinary to hear these type of stories, Danielle, because there's so much out there at the moment in the market for this supplement, that supplement. And I got introduced to a lot, and I just simplified it. One, using my own topical. And of course, I'm literally using ASEA, Ari, and I take the Roots turmeric supplements just to give me energy, and they're brilliant. I stopped a long time ago, and it's interesting, just before I finish that point, that I was in LA recently, and ASEA was recommended by my chiropractor. He said that, you know, when he did my muscle testing, he said, use this once a day. So I was like, believe it or not, I'm going to be recommending this because I'm already using it. And he goes, because he goes, it's really been profound in my practice. Now this is Dr. Cooper from Cooperstown in Los Angeles. He's been voted the best chiropractor in the world, so he recommended the ASEA to me as well. So it's all kind of this synergy of bringing us together, and now I'm finally I'm really satisfied with, you know, being able to introduce it. So over to you, Dr. David. Let's talk about what this is and what it does.
Okay. And just everybody should understand that this doesn't fit a category, right? There are nutritional products, there are herb products, there are pharmaceutical products, there are mineral products. This doesn't fit a category, and I'll explain why. And to call it a product really is, it's patented, this intellectual property. I mean, it's not reverse engineerable. It's very, very unusual thing. I'll explain it. But to call it a product would be like, and it's not a drug, so we don't say it's pharmaceutical, but no one would call, when penicillin came along, wow, what a great product. That's like a breakthrough. It's like, you know, who's going to believe that bread mold is going to save hundreds of millions of lives, right? I mean, it's like breakthroughs come in strange packages. This one comes in a blue bottle, and the ingredients say it's made from salt and water, which it is. And there's a reason why it's made from salt and water. What's in this bottle and what's in this tube is in us. This is a simple explanation, and I'll give you a reference for people to get a little deeper if they want, but it's called redox signaling molecules made from saline, and our cells make it. But we all notice that when people are younger, they have less health issues, right? Every decade of life, we tend to decline. You don't see the big decline in the 20s, but you start seeing it in 30s and 40s. People start taking medications. They have some things that are going on, and then you get into the 50s, you know. So when I was a kid, and when we were kids, before puberty, in our mitochondria, and there are books on this, I've got textbooks. This is a massive field of science, redox. It stands for reductant and oxidant. But when we were kids, we produce a lot. As long as we have healthy mitochondria. Some populations don't. Like, for instance, people on the spectrum, their mitochondria generally is not very powerful. They have low levels of glutathione. They have leaky gut, lots of different things. But healthy children produce a lot. So when a healthy child at 10 falls off his or her bicycle, she heals quickly. She falls off her bicycle at 20, she heals, but not as quickly as 10. Falls off her bicycle at 50, might be in physical therapy for 2 years. Falls off her bicycle at 80, she's probably going to die. Well, she's producing less and less and less of this as she is getting older, just like I did. So I'm 62 now. I'm producing this much. I used to produce this much. They found a way to make it outside the body, identical to what's in me, and all, 8 billion people on the planet, we all produce it. Animals produce it. Danielle just said plants produce it. My dog drinks this. Puppies are healthier than older dogs. They produce more. So when I drink this, I raise my levels back up to what they were, right? and as far as safety goes, I just want to mention, you cannot, I wrote prescriptions every day. And I had to worry about, if you were my patient, I'd have to worry about a few things. I'd say, you allergic to anything? I write the wrong prescription, I could kill you. You can't be allergic to this. It's safer than food, because I could kill the wrong person with a peanut or a glass of milk. Nobody can be allergic to this. Physically impossible. I can breathe. I put it in a nebulizer. I'm breathing it in. I can put it in my eye. It's literally going in my eye.
Wow.
This is
The
safe.
liquid put in
This
there.
is the liquid. I put the liquid in here, right? So you can't be allergic to it. If you're my patient, I write you a prescription, might interact with another medication. I have to say, Alpa, what medications are you taking? What are you taking now? Because I have to know, right? This does not interfere with anything. So people do not have to stop. They don't have to stop. They baseline everything in their health: energy, sleep, blood sugar, mood, libido, take pictures of their skin, hair, and nails, wrinkles, cellulite, pimples, everything, and say, here's where I am today. Keep using your medicines or whatever you're using, and say that, just add this and this to it, drink it and put this on the skin. And lastly, there's no toxicity. When you take a medication, it's not supposed to be in your body. I think we all know that medicines are great when you really need them, but to take a medicine every day for joint problems or breathing problems, that medicine's not supposed to be in you. If you take too much of it, your liver can't metabolize it fast enough, and the toxicity builds up, and you'll get sick. Your liver will shut down, your kidney will shut down. Eventually, it'll kill you. Every medicine has a lethal dose. Remember, this is a different category. This is not a medicine. It's not metabolized by the liver. If you drink too much of it, your body turns the excess back into what it was, which is saline. And the reason your cells make it from saline, and the way the company makes it from saline, is because our cells are filled with salt water. So when people say, oh, it's just salt water, well, you get a 13-year-old company that's done $1 billion in sales. It's in 34 countries. They're double-blind studies. And there's a quick way with the gel to prove to anybody it's not saline. But the reason it's made from salt and water is because our mitochondria float in saline. Our cells are filled with salt and water. When you cry, it's salty. When you sweat, it's salty. When you go to the hospital and they give you an IV bag, they don't give you water, they give you saline. So people it's funny, Daniel, you said people can find whatever they're looking for on Google, right? You're looking for something pro-vaccine, you'll find it. You find something, looking for something negative vaccine, you find it. You find something pro whatever. It's like, this is an easy thing to prove that it works, and I can show you in a minute, but it's as safe as water. And what this does is, I'll just mention 3 things and then I can give you a reference. 1, it raises your levels of antioxidants, glutathione, SOD, and catalase. And when anybody that knows what glutathione is, it's like the holy grail. If you can raise glutathione, you got me, I'm getting it, right? 2, a double-blind study, placebo-controlled study, proves that it turns genes back on. So we all know the term epigenetics. Our genes turn off as we get older, and then we become exposed to the things that our ancestors had, our parents, our grandparents. So my dad had gout, my grandfather had gout, I'm going to have gout, right? I used to treat gout all the time in my office, but gout usually comes on like in the 40s. Well, the genes had turned off enough that you get exposed. You have the problem with the foods that you eat. It's called genetic expression. And it's the genes tell our cells which proteins to produce, and that decreases as we get older. Double-blind, placebo-controlled study, just 8 weeks. Now, not everybody feels the changes in 8 weeks, but this study proved that everybody's getting benefit, because these very important genes that control our inflammation pathways in our body, hormone pathways in our body, digestive pathways, Innate immune system. So our genes turn off. In the innate immune system, by the way, with the craziness the world's had the last 3 years, we have two immune systems. One is called the innate immune system. That's the one that deals with infections and things that people catch from other people, right? Who did better in this whole thing? Who was more at risk with this whole thing? Older people or younger people? Older people are more at risk. And any doctor will, you say, well, why, doctor? Because their immune systems aren't as strong. Well, why is that? I don't know. Well, one of the reasons is their genes have turned off as they got older and they become more exposed to these things. This turns the genes back on. So that's another thing. And the last thing is it's a signal amplifier. So our body's made up of trillions of cells, right? And our cells are healthy in my retina. If they're healthy, I don't go blind. But if I have a lot of unhealthy cells in my retina, I go to the doctor and I say, I can't see. They look in my eye, they say, you got retina problems. Well, it's my cells that are not good, but their answer isn't, let's fix the cells. Their answer is, we're going to inject your eyeball every month with steroids. I go to the doctor, I'm thirsty, or I'm urinating all the time. Oh, Dr. Silverman, your labs came back. Your blood sugar is 600. You need metformin. You need insulin.
Yeah.
They're not addressing my bad cells in my pancreas. Well, we all have cells that are dying constantly. They get replaced with good ones. If you have cells dying in your pancreas right now, you say, why don't you have diabetes? Because your body gets rid of the bad cell and replaces it with a good one. And so you don't have diabetes. How does it happen? That's why I went into medicine. The whole thing fascinates me. This cell starts to die. This cell detects the problem, calls for help. The immune system's cells get the signal. It's a signal. They come down, they kill the cell. It's called apoptosis, cell suicide, dissolves it. It gets carried away in the lymph system, and the good cell replicates itself. So what do redox molecules do in the body? They amplify the signal. So the more you have, the louder the signal for help. So a child falls off the bicycle, breaks bone cells, they heal quickly because the signal is so loud. But if you have less redox molecules when you're 50, instead of it being help, help, it's help, help. At 80, it's help, help. When you drink this, you are simply amplifying the signal. So when people say, oh, I look at these people sharing what it did with, they were hit by a drunk driver. This person had blood sugar. This person had breathing problems. This person had sleeping problems. This person had immune problems. This person has infertility problems. How could one thing do all of that? It's because it amplifies signal and it turns genes back on, which is why I said it's much more than just a product.
I think you should call it the screamer, really.
Yeah, right?
So forget
Yeah,
that.
many meanings.
It screams at you internally. I have a couple of questions, and that was explained amazingly. For someone with me and my kind of abstract way of thinking, that made perfect sense. Because you mentioned one of the first points about glutathione.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed one very significant change, and this is something the Indian community will love to hear. And no offense is made by if any of my fellow Asian people are watching this, is that glutathione was this big fad in India and Indians across the world to use. Why? Because it makes your skin fairer. And it's a big thing within the Indian community. So I don't necessarily agree with it. So I used to get glutathione injections just for my sort of fatigue and the inflammation. And it would last, I'd have a little bit of a high for a day or so, and then I'd slump again with all these intravenous drips that I had many, many years ago. And I don't do them, complete waste of money. Because I'm not sure the quality of the intravenous drip that we're taking. There's a lot of companies that have come up there, and I happen to have a pharmacist friend who explained to me the kind of grading at pharmaceutical level of these strips. He goes, just don't get into all of that, and he's really like an awake pharmacist. Anyway, long story short, one of the things that I've noticed, especially in the last 5 days, because of this jet lag, traveling, and me kind of getting my body clock back into the swing of things, is that with 4 hours sleep, one that I'm managing every single day, my skin is getting better. Now, one of the things that if I don't sleep, one, I'm like one cake short of a biscuit during the day, and I cannot function. But I noticed my skin and my psoriasis here, like there's been quite a lot of stress recently in my own life, and we all have it. And look at the movement that we're in at the moment. You know, the collective is just going through so much. The stress is everywhere, and it's how we manage it. But with the glutathione point that you just raised, my skin is going white and like really clear.
I haven't even heard that one before, honestly, but I do know that it makes
It's massive.
nice.
Look up on that. It's such a thing that a lot of people in the Afro-Caribbean community as well, they take a lot of like crazy level of glutathione, like the 2,500 mg, like that much every other day. It's nuts.
Well, what's nice is that this is making your body make its own glutathione. And it's activating your. A lot of us have active glutathione. It's called reduced, and inactive non-reduced. And this is reductants and oxidants. That's what redox stands for. And what it's doing is it's turning on the ones that are off. So effectively, you're raising your levels of glutathione. And that's why I said people who know what glutathione is, I don't have to go into gene expression. I don't have to go into how fast this works for things that we'll talk about how to prove it real quickly. If someone has something that hurts them, they're like, glutathione, I want it, give it to me. And like, I see it all the time. Most people don't know what glutathione is. It's interesting. I didn't know that about the Indian community.
Yeah, I mean, it's so massive, and people, the reason why I know about it is because this friend of mine said, would you like to head up this IV company with me? And this was many years ago. And so I started researching all the different drips and all the different gradings. And because I can't administer it myself, because I'm a practicing nurse, that's when I found out about the market for glutathione IVs within these communities. Now, again, I say this all respectfully, but it's a fact. Just look it up on Google. Glutathione, people use it to lighten, and it's marketed as a skin lightener. So rather than using all this bleach and stuff, the new fad was, glutathione injections. But guess how much they cost a pop? If you really want to get your skin to 5-6 shades lighter, which is what it does, they would have had to spend almost over 10,000-20,000 pounds, because the level and concentration of glutathione that they charge. It's a crazy market out there for this. But folks, look, this has been so good in terms of all the various explanations that we've had so far. Someone like me, I mean, it's so many questions that I have. And the next one is like, how many times should a person take it? And if, depending on what conditions they have, but just in general, the average person who's semi-healthy, in their sort of middle age, what's the kind of dosage that they should be taking?
Well, first of all, we talk about serving size, because if we say the word dosage, it kind of, even the FDA considers, the US consider this a supplement, and literally consider this as a cosmetic product, right? Because this company turned down an enormous offer from a pharmaceutical company. And I think most of your audience knows that pharmaceutical companies aren't in business just to help humanity. They want to make money, right? I mean, right. We're all old enough to know that it's not all about goodness for the world, pharmaceuticals. But a pharmaceutical company was going to buy this, and the founders of the company were considering the offer. It's because this is in 2007, just sell it and walk away with a lot of money. But they got this, and I can share with your audience a video they can watch about the beginning of this, called The Genesis of ASEA, which sounds kind of divine too. But they turned down the offer because they got the sense they were going to bury it. The only reason they wanted the technology was to make it go away. Pharmaceutical companies, I mean, honestly, they do a lot of good in this world. My God, if you're in an auto accident or something, thank God we have it. But for chronic problems, we're all kind of hooked on medications and so forth. They don't want people staying well. They need people to be ill, or they're out of business. And if people want to live younger longer, if they want to live younger longer, not just look younger longer, I mean, live younger longer, because our skin is cells. You know, people generally don't think I'm 62, but I feel like I'm 26. I don't take medications. I don't even take ibuprofen when I golf anymore. And I golf every day now. I golfed once a week in my 30s. I took ibuprofen every time I golfed. But it's validating it is key. When someone needs to see results, and that's what you asked me. You said, what's dosage? I'll say serving size. So the first thing person does is is they're gonna reach out to wherever you're gonna have them reach out to, is they can get you this paperwork so they can fill this out themselves properly and track their progress. They take an inventory of their health. They write down everything. Let's say their problem is blood sugar. Well, what's your blood sugar in the morning? Let's say if they don't sleep, how well do you sleep? How many times you get up to go to the bathroom at night? Maybe you have ringing in your ear. You're making a note of everything that's not perfect. Take pictures of your skin, baseline athletic performance, because athletes run much faster and further. There are double-blind studies showing why. There's no banned substances. So bottom line is you're just taking an inventory of everything before you begin, and take pictures. I say it's very important. Wrinkles, sunspots, cellulite, scars, skin issues, nails, thinning hair, everything.
Gray hairs,
What's that?
reverse gray hairs.
Well, a lot of people it does actually, and it's interesting. A lot of people, I don't know my glasses here.
But like, for me, you know, that's why I'm wearing this band here right now. I've got to do my roots.
Yeah, well, I mean, some people that Danielle will tell you, some people that happens to. I mean, it's some people they're wearing glasses, and after a year of drinking it, they're like, they go to the doctor, I can't see. Doctor says, well, your prescription's too strong. That's really strange.
Hey,
I mean,
that's something, that's what I'm noticing myself at the moment. I've got, God, that's what it is. Because my lens prescription seems to be going
well,
down.
you'll see, right? You'll see when you, well,
Oh, it's blurry, you know.
what a pun that is, you'll see. So what people do is they baseline everything, and then you said how much. So it comes with a 2-ounce cup, which is 60 ml, right? And you do 2 of those a day. In the morning, you put it in your mouth, you hold it for 30 to 60 seconds, swallow it, do it at the end of the day. Do it again at the end of the day. At the end of 1 week, you went through about 1 bottle. Remember, there's a money back guarantee for 30 days on it if you order it.
That is amazing, folks. There's a money back guarantee.
That's wonderful. And it's produced in an FDA registered production facility in the United States, and it's shipped to 34 countries around the world, right? In fact, I'm going to Asia in about 3 weeks. I'll be in 5 countries just speaking on this, but there are distribution centers in all those countries. So anyway, you do that, and after here, I want to give people proper expectations. After 1 week, only about 15% of people will see a change. They go back to that paper and they say, well, 15% of people are like, my God, this is amazing. 85% don't see anything. It's very important that those people temporarily or permanently double it and go to 8 ounces a day, which is 240 ml, right? We call that in the United States the magic 8, right?
Yeah.
We don't start people at 8 because it raises your glutathione levels and you detox. And some people could get a headache or they could get a rash because the glutathione is going to make your body purge itself of toxins. And if they don't come out fast enough, you can have these strange things happen at the beginning. So we say start at 4 ounces a day, 120 ml, double it. If you do that and you stay at the magic 8 or 240 ml until you see your changes, by day 30, which is the money back guarantee period, about 60% of people are stunned. That leaves 40% saying, I don't see anything. 90% of people, like Danielle, 90% of people by day 90 are stunned. So stay on it for 90. And here's the last thing I'll tell you. Anybody who doubts this, I can prove it to them it's real in 10 minutes. All they have to say is, I'll do that. And here's what it is. You take the gel version of it. Okay. And the gel is a gel version of the drink. And it's clear. There's no smell, there's no greasiness. It's marketed for anti-aging. It rejuvenates skin cells, right? Yeah. But I can't make your wrinkles go away in 10 minutes, but I can make people know it's real in 10 minutes. And what they do is, and this is nowhere in the literature of the company, but you see it yourself. And when you see what I'm about to tell you happen, everybody knows 3 things. This is real. It's not salt water. It's real. 2, it's very easy for anybody who wants to validate it if they choose to do what I suggest in a second. And 3, it's just a matter of time before everybody knows about this, right? It also gets people to commit to do this. If they haven't seen a change with this in 30 days, they will go 90 if they do what I'm going to say with this. And what they do is they find a few people that have something that hurts them. Mm-hmm. Their hand, their neck, their back, their knee, their shoulder doesn't move. And 3 things, they rate the discomfort on a scale of 1 to 10. They shake up the gel. They put it on 3 times in 5 minutes. So they put it on once, it dries, put it on twice, it dries, put it on 3 times, it dries. Wherever it is, menstrual cramps, anything. And at 10 minutes, you ask those, do it on 10 people, ask those 10 people how they feel, right? So if you have them all in one room, it takes 10 minutes. If you do it on 10 people individually, it takes 100 minutes. Watch carefully what 9 out of 10 people tell you. Watch their face when they go, what just happened to me? Not everybody. On average, 9 out of 10 people, watch what happens to them. And it stuns people. It absolutely stuns people. I know you haven't really done that yet. I can't wait for you to do that. On the next show, you'll share it.
I have, because you're saying this now, and like we were speaking sort of behind the scenes, and oh my God, so much is falling into place, because I'm really pleased that I introduced it the way I did, because it was a gift. I tried it. I had no instructions. I just did it because I was in quite a weird place. And I'm going to be really vulnerable here, folks, because everything that Dr. Silverman said is that I was doing this without anyone telling me to do this. 4 weeks ago, when I said I went through hell, I had really personal bad news in my family, and just I'll leave that at that. And it depleted my adrenal. There's so much going on with sort of what's going on with me. I've gone here to Pillar to Post, started using obviously my own detox supplement. So I didn't realize, and obviously a seer, because I went through this, and I don't like showing people this sort of stuff, but I was using Renu, Dr. Silverman, every day, 3 or 4 times a day. I've had these horrible, horrific, what's called hives, angiodoma hives. I had to sort of figure out what was going on with me. And it's really was an indicator to the connection between stress and my adrenal system. It got rid of this, and people are going to be shocked to see it, but first time I'm going to do it. I don't like doing this, but if you can see, tell me you can see this. Hold on, let me switch the light off here. Let me do this. Hold on, let me put the light up so that people can see.
And by the way, I just want to make sure everybody understands that we can't claim that this cures
my face.
treats, but wow.
Okay, so you know, I'm here to help people, and I'm going through my own personal journey. I've had episodes like this 8 times since August 2021, and it completely affected my confidence in doing what I do publicly. I was telling Danielle earlier on that you know, you walk around with a face looking like a raccoon, and it really, really messed me up. So Catherine was telling me, she goes, Renu it up, like, you know, and I was doing it without those. She didn't say do it 3 times a day. She just goes, just put it on. So it was quite cooling as well. And it went within, but I was only doing this. So I wasn't doing the Magic 8. Jay only told me about this the other day. So I'm double dosing this now. Yeah. But I was doing Renu 4 or 5 times a day, and it went within about a week.
Yeah, you can do it as much as you want. And I'm just saying, but you experiment with it. You can do whatever you want with it, because it can't hurt anything. You just take pictures. You took pictures, which is fantastic. And by the way, I didn't say do it 3 times a day. I was saying if somebody has something that hurts them.
Right. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
5 minutes. And it's like, wow, but that's fantastic. I'm excited for anybody who starts this product, and as soon as they have their own aha moment, they're in. They need to see something happen to really believe, to be able to share it with the people they love and care about. And I'm really excited for you.
Well, I gotta say, guys, I've been at this event, so I of course had a big tube of Renu with me, and people are sitting, you know, they're watching speakers, they're getting uncomfortable. I had a woman, she's probably in her 60s, come in, you know, and she was like saying that her hip was really bothering her. So I did the demo with her, and then, you know, break was over, she went back in, and she came back, she said, can I get more of that? She didn't say much. And I said, sure. So I actually gave her a sample. The next morning, she came up to me and she started crying. And she said, you have no idea. I was not able to sit for longer than an hour, and I don't know how long. I was able to sit through the whole conference yesterday. And she said, I slept the entire night last night. And I don't remember the last time I had a full night's sleep. And it's incredible. And she's like, this is life-changing for me. I said, yeah, it is. And I've gotten to see a thing after thing after thing. Even this weekend, there was a woman from Hawaii that I met, and she said, you know, I get all these things on my face because I'm out in the sun all the time. And she said, you know, several were popping up kind of on the sides of my cheeks here. She said, I've put that Renew on 8 times since you gave it to me. And she said, they fell off. And she goes, I can't believe this. And I was like, well, welcome to the miracle.
Wow.
Apple, speaking of this, can I give people a reference? Because people generally, when they hear these conversations, they think about their problem. And if we mention something they have, they're like, oh, I want to know more. But maybe they're wondering, gee, I have something else. Could it help? Can I share something real quick?
Yeah, sure. And while you get that ready, just a very quick question. Can pets take this?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's in. Oh,
Kenzo,
yeah.
Kenzo, get here now. I've got tickets here for you.
Look, I mean, puppies and kittens are generally healthy and have more energy than older cats and dogs, right? I mean, and they produce it as well. It's all, this is the science here. And let me show you where you can find some of this. So I always give credit. You gave credit to Catherine. She introduced it to you. I always give credit to my friend, Debbie. This was taken just before COVID.
What a beautiful bunch.
She's 70 years older. And,
oh, wow. No way.
You know, all these people look younger. She just had her 10th grandchild, 12th grandchild. So these people, it's funny, it's a gift chain. So Denny told Tammy, who told Cindy, who told Debbie, who brought it to me and my wife, Wendy. And if that chain didn't happen, I don't know that if my dad was alive right now. So I take this very seriously, but I put a site together that's informational. It's called gettingyoungerclub.com. I know all of your watchers and viewers will call the number that's going to be listed in a minute to make sure they do this properly. But as far as getting the product properly, getting it at the best price. But this site has good information that answers most people's questions. And everybody generally will watch this first 6-minute video to determine what it is they're interested in, what part of this they're interested in, right? And that Genesis video I mentioned where it says not for sale, this is why it's marketed this way. It's a